Welcome to Flash News Now. Here are today's top 12 stories. G7 leaders meet in France with Iran and Ukraine high on agenda. The G7 summit's focus on Iran and Ukraine underscores the pressing need for coordinated global action to mitigate escalating tensions in these regions. With the Strait of Hormuz, a critical oil shipping lane, under threat, the economic implications of a prolonged crisis are significant. The G7 leaders' discussion on reopening the strait is crucial, as it could help prevent a surge in oil prices and subsequent global economic instability. As the summit unfolds, watch for signs of a unified G7 stance on Iran, as well as potential divisions between the US and European leaders on how to address the situation. World Cup 2026. France kick-off campaign against Senegal. France's opening match against Senegal is a litmus test that reaches far beyond a 90-minute result. With the nation's storied World Cup pedigree and a squad that has already shown in 2023's Euros, the French are under pressure to project confidence early in a tournament where group stage momentum can dictate knockout trajectories. Senegal, on the other hand, is a dark horse threat whose recent surge, highlighted by a 2024 Nations League semi-final win over the Netherlands, shows a side capable of exploiting any lapse. The stakes are amplified by France's need to dispel the 2002 memory of a narrow opening loss, a narrative that could still haunt the coaching staff's tactical decisions. Iran fans react to team's first World Cup match amid political schisms. What to know about this week's U.S. primary elections. Primaries are set to take place in Alabama, California, Oklahoma, Georgia, and the capital, Washington, D.C. on Tuesday. World Cup 2026. Tunisia sacks coach Lamouchi, appoints Renard after thrashing by Sweden. Tunisia responded to their 5-1 World Cup thrashing against Sweden by sacking coach Sabri Lamouchi and replacing him with Frenchman Hervé Renard, the federation announced on Monday. Football fans celebrate the World Cup across continents and cultures. Fans in jerseys and painted faces gather to watch World Cup matches, celebrating unity and rivalry alike. Former CAR president on trial in absentia over crimes against humanity. The alleged crimes committed by Bozai's security forces include murder. 8 people killed in U.S. Air Force B-52 bomber crash. What we know. The aircraft, one of the U.S. Air Force's longest-used bombers, goes down during a routine test mission. Japan raises interest rate to highest for 31 years. The Bank of Japan has been raising rates from near zero since 2024. Palestine Weekly Wrap. World sanctions settlers. Israel funds settlements. Amnesty International's claim that Israel's settlement policy amounts to state-sponsored ethnic cleansing arrives at a moment when the United Nations and a growing coalition of Western allies are tightening economic pressure on the settler state, while Israel's finance minister Itamar Smotrich, a hardline pro-settlement figure, faces diplomatic isolation. The sanctions, which target financial flows to settlement infrastructure and freeze assets of key pro-settlement officials, are an unprecedented attempt by the international community to curb what it deems a systematic violation of international law. Israel uses battlefield evidence to prosecute Palestinians abroad. My voice is being heard. A month of India's Cockroach Janta Party. The Cockroach Janta Party's nationwide protest marks a significant moment in India's educational landscape, capitalizing on the widespread outrage over exam paper leaks. This satirical movement's success speaks to the deep-seated frustration among Gen Z students, who feel their future prospects are being undermined by a perceived lack of accountability among those in power. The protests focus on the federal education minister's removal signals a growing demand for meaningful reform and greater transparency in the education system. As the movement gains momentum, It will be crucial to monitor how the government responds, particularly whether it will take concrete steps to address the systemic issues driving the protests. That was your Flash News Now bulletin. Subscribe for more.